Primo Levi is just one of the few Italian Jews who survived the Holocaust. When he was only 24, Primo and his family were captured by the Italian fascist military on December 13th of 1943. Before his capture, Primo Levi was just a chemist pursuing a career in medicine as a normal Italian Jewish citizen. His role in surviving Auschwitz displays to us the bone-chilling events he endeavored, which shows just how much power it takes to corrupt the minds of many, including the Jews themselves. On his journey to Auschwitz, Primo observed many Jewish families being forced to be separated by the SS officers. The officers displayed no sympathy to the Jewish families and often used physical force to break them up. Men would go on to work in concentration camps. However, Primo recalled that women and children were taken but never seen again. At Auschwitz, Primo Levi encountered a sign that said, Arbeit macht frei, or the German meaning, work sets you free. Once inside the gates, a Jew's life would forever be changed by the brutalization brought on by the Nazi regime. In order for Primo Levi to survive, he had to rely on the positivity of others to keep hope alive. The vile acts demonstrated by Germans caused many Jews to perceive life in a pessimistic way because the dehumanization presented inside the gates of Auschwitz. At the camp, we can see in this picture that a child is given a numbered tattoo. Regardless of nationality or sex, all Jews received numbered tattoos to identify what group were they from. Primo quickly learns that prisoners numbered from 30,000 to 80,000 and 116,000 to 117,000 were treated with the highest respect since most of their Jewish groups were already killed off. Through a German standpoint, Jews were nothing more than a number they received that deemed them prisoners of the war. Primo Levi did not see the true hierarchy of power within the camps until he experienced life in what he called the gray zone. This gray zone was how the SS officers kept the Jews in line. In Primo's idea of the gray zone, Jews did not have concrete proof that the German SS officers allowed Jews to turn against each other. However, Primo's first-hand account does portray the wickedness of the Holocaust. He states, until the end of 1943, it was not unusual for a prisoner to be beaten to death by a capo without the latter having to fear any sanctions. This gray zone meant that a Jew was able to take away another Jew's life before the Germans did. Many of the capos were actual Jewish criminals. The Jewish criminals were assigned by the SS officers since they believed criminals were best at torturing. By having capos as rule enforcers, the SS officers often did not have to intervene with the correction of Jewish behavior. In this scene, we are presented with Jews preparing to build a crematorium at Auschwitz. Upon completion of the crematorium, SS officers gave power to a group of Jews called Sonderkommandos. This special squad, as the SS officers named it, were given the responsibility to extract the Jewish bodies from gas chambers and strip any valuables from that particular Jew. Yet these atrocious acts against the Jews led Sonderkommandos to rebel against the Nazis. This specific rebellion caused the Jews to explode one of the crematoriums. Primo Levi accounts that after the explosion, 450 Jews that were involved in the rebellion were killed. This event allowed Primo to see that regardless of the SS officers giving certain Jews power, the moral conceptions from the Sonderkommandos convinced them to fight for their freedom or die trying. Although many capos were perceived as bad, some were of good nature. Primo Levi describes the account where his capo, Templar, displayed humanistic feelings towards other Jews. Primo accounts that one day Templar had discovered a large pot that consisted of 11 gallons of soup. instead of Templar consuming the soup by himself, he shared it among his fellow inmates. By Templar displaying this act of kindness, Primo shows that capos did understand their situation and succumbed to the humanistic values of morality. At this point in Primo's account, the odds of his survival came when his knowledge of chemistry led him to the brighter side of the gray zone. Primo was presented with the opportunity to use his skills when the SS officers were in need of a chemist. Primo then underwent an examination with Dr. Engineer Panwitz. After completing the test, Dr. Panwitz is pleased with Primo's knowledge and appoints him to be the chemist commando. As a result of Primo having prior knowledge of chemistry, his odds of surviving increased dramatically since his life became of value in the eyes of the SS. As Primo's story continues, he is quickly shown the repercussions of a Jewish revolt. Primo describes the paradox of the gray zone. One day, the SS officers rounded up all the Jews to inform they had captured the man who was in charge of the crematorium explosion. The SS officers presented the case that if any Jew were to lash out, he would be hanged. Sadly, the SS officers were going to hang him. Primo recalled that this Jew in particular did not die instantaneously, but died a slow death through the rapid movements in his body as a cry for help. This event reassured Primo with the gruesome reality that the SS officers did not care if he was a Sonderkommando or not. He still had a tattoo just like everyone else. Just when Primo believes his life is secured as a chemist commando, he became ill with scarlet fever. However, this fever ended up saving Primo's life. At the time when Primo entered the camp's clinic, Germans grew worried by the advancement of the Russians. During Primo's stay, all of the SS officers ordered every Jew to what is called the Death March. This march was meant for all fit Jews. Primo was not able to walk, and the Germans left all of the unfit Jews for dead. This was an example of how, by the end of the war, corruption from the gray zone did not matter because all Jews were treated the same by the SS officers. The Jews were treated like they were already walking corpses. After the Germans left him for dead, Primo ended up surviving long enough to seek help from the Russians. It was not Primo's will to live that saved him, but it was the odds that were in his favor which allowed him to become a commando. Primo did not enforce work upon other Jews, but he was securely awarded the job of a chemist in a laboratory. By obtaining this job, Primo Levi survived through his hard work and determination without adding the corruption in his definition of the gray zone. Though he was forced to work hard labor in the beginning of his journey, Primo Levi used his knowledge of chemistry to gain the upper hand of the gray zone. In the book titled Ordinary Men, Christopher Browning includes Primo Levi's account of the gray zone to his own argument. Browning notes that Primo had witnessed other Jews prolong their life by aiding in the death of other fellow Jewish members. There is the part in Primo's story where Browning argues that the perpetrators did not become fellow victims in the way some victims became accomplices of perpetrators. The relationship between the perpetrator and victim were not symmetrical. This scholar's assertion can allow readers to understand that the SS officers that held power over Sonderkommandos did not experience the Holocaust the same way as they did. The gray zone was a zone that did involve a deeper meaning for the victims because for Primo Levi, the act of seeing a Jew killing his own kind had much more damaging effects than a perpetrator signing up to kill the Jewish enemy.